to order. Welcome all of you who've chosen to come out tonight. Can we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3.03, we ready for our superintendent comments and summary. Dr. Seifert?
Gonna press my button there.
Yes.
Welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. We're glad that you've joined us. We have a pretty good crowd tonight. This is awesome. As you see, I just pressed the button on our new AV equipment, so that's pretty fancy. So finally we got rid of the lapels that really didn't work much. Thank you to Chris Bennett and our tech team for getting this for us, so we're excited. So if you see us kind of messing around with things up here, we're trying to get used to our new technology, so pretty cool. I want to take a moment to mention that we did have a small fire at St. Charles High this past Monday. I want to thank our SCHS staff for doing an amazing job of keeping everyone safe and everything orderly. Timely action and communication took place, and school was canceled for the day out of precaution. Situation was fully investigated and handled by the administration. And again, I just want to say thank you to our SCHS staff as well as our students. It was a tough situation that morning to figure it all out and get everybody funneled into the gym at a timely manner. And everybody just came together and worked well together, and we were able to solve that situation. So kudos to the SCHS family. Tonight, we are celebrating School Board Appreciation Week. Special thank you to our board members. You all are the best. We just talked about this in closed session as well, and we just so appreciate your leadership, your guidance, everything that you provide our school district and our community. And to celebrate, we have some small tokens, and this is my favorite night because we had cake before you guys got here. So, and don't tell my wife. Sometimes she listens. I actually had 2 pieces. It was really good. I really did. Huh? I did. I think we probably have some for later too. So, but just. You can see the cards and the notes on the, just kudos to our kids for writing some great messages, but I just hope our Board of Education, it's been, obviously with the pandemic this year, it's been a tough time, and you guys have just led so well, and I just want to thank our board. Can we give our Board of Education a round of applause? So thank you for all that you do. Parent-teacher conferences were last week, and I would like to thank all of our staff and parents and guardians who participated. I'm a firm believer that clear, strong communication is a key to success in our educational process, and I love the fact that we're a school district that has, for all levels, a fall and spring conference. I just think that's really important. So tonight is my privilege to announce 2 more new administrators. I feel like we do this at every board meeting. But we've got 2, and tonight our 2 candidates, our 2 new administrators, are a perfect example of having people in our district be able to move up into positions as well as have new people come in. We got a great balance of that. And our first person is Weda Smith. Please stand. You can give her a hand. Loretta will be joining the Hardin Middle School administration team as an assistant principal. She's coming from the Parkway School District, and we're thrilled to have her part of our SCSD family. And just so you all remember, we had Brett Coburnis earlier in the year, and he's going to take the place of Chris Jarris at our Success Campus. And so welcome, Loretta. The next person is, go ahead and stand up, please, Mr. Ben Owens. Mr. Owens, you can give him a hand. So the person taking Corey Hahn's position as Activities Director at St. Charles High, who obviously Corey is retiring and has done a great job for us, is Mr. Ben Owens. A lot of you are probably thinking, oh, I've seen Ben around. Yes, Ben is St. Charles High to the T. I mean, he is a great teacher, a great coach, been there a long time, and he is definitely ready for this next role, and I'm just excited to work with him closely. I told him the other day, he was in my office, I said, get ready. I call a lot and I'm annoying, but that's not supposed to be funny, but no. Oh, it's true or not funny? Oh, okay. At least I have a good perception of who I am, right? But those AD positions are so important to us. We have 2 in the school district, and they run all of our activities, and we rely on those people quite often and daily to make sure everything's run smoothly at the high schools. And Ben, it's just it's great to have him in that role. And your family's here tonight, so let's give them a hand. So thanks for being here. And so congratulations to our two candidates. We're going to move on. We're going to talk, we recently made some changes to our masking protocols, and tonight we will review the new protocols that are in place, just making sure that everybody can see and hear those in open session. As things continue to trend in a very positive way, I want to reiterate that everything we do centers around the safety and continuity of the learning environment of our students and staff. I want to thank our Board of Education and our staff for all they have done to keep us moving in the right direction throughout the pandemic. Together, we've accomplished great things, and I know even better things are on the horizon, so again, we'll have another quick conversation about that tonight. Winter sports have come to a close, unfortunately, but congratulations to our St. Charles West boys basketball team. They took a district championship back home to West, which is awesome. Excellent job to the players and the coaches. I want to congratulate members of the SCHS Orchestra for earning an exemplary rating at the Missouri Large Group Festival on March 2nd. The exemplary score is the highest rating a group can receive, so congratulations to those outstanding musicians. And both high school drama departments are putting on musicals this spring, and our very own Lori Gibson is busy at Bye Bye Birdie tonight. So Bye Bye Birdie is being presented by St. Charles High, I think tonight. It was last night, I think, and tomorrow night, and then also Saturday. So if you haven't gone out to a show or a musical either at High or West, you're missing something. I know Danielle loves to take her girls to the show, and it's just the kids just do a fantastic job. Spring sports are here too. We're looking forward to it, and like I always say, go Pirates and go Warriors. We've been teasing, where's Chris? We've been teasing a podcast, because these people really want another Ben podcast. I mean, you know what we like to say. You got to give the people what they want. But right now, we just haven't gotten one. But are we going to get one on the books there, Chris? Okay. All right. I also want to mention that next month we will look forward to our yearly Board of Education election. We have 2 Board of Education positions open, and we have 4 outstanding candidates. We have Dr. Donna Towers, Mr. Brian O'Mara, Mr. Daniel Hewitt, and Mr. Stephen Skodak, all 4 vying for a spot on our Board of Education. We will have that next month for you. We have worked hard to prepare for this meeting, and tonight we will have an important presentations on, again, COVID update review, bond projects, Juneteenth holiday proposal, the approval of certified and classified agreements. I know some of our SCA folks are here tonight. I want to thank each group for very productive and positive win-win negotiation processes. We value our ongoing partnerships with all 3 groups. Side note, we're only bringing certified and classified tonight because transportation got bumped up because of the weather. Yes, and I know snow's coming in the morning. Believe me, I'm well aware of that. So a quick note on that. We are watching the forecast for snow tomorrow. I'll be up early and we'll check things out, but hopefully we can get to school. We'll see how that goes. Other things that we're doing tonight, program review, parents as teachers. We got some great people from our ECC here tonight. And they're like the nicest people you'll ever meet, those ECBC people. Right, Carrie? Yes. We have a migrant program review, and also the highlight of our night is the district financial report, right, Dr. Brazil? Yes. Yes, I am. I always do, if you pay attention, but I usually do. As spring break gets closer, I want to encourage everyone to keep going strong. Let's continue to work together and give our best every day, because our students are counting on it. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Seifert. Item 3.04, do we have any board communications?
Yes, we do.
A cute one.
Yes, a homemade envelope to school board members from Jacob Garner. I don't know what school he's from, but he's got a little smiley face on the front of the envelope. And dear school board members, thank you for keeping our school clean so we can use it. Thank you for taking care of the school so we can learn. Sincerely, Jacob Garner. And he's drawn a little picture of a school and kids playing outside.
We appreciate that. Thank you, Jacob.
from the heart. Thank you. Item 3.05, this is a board recognition. Am I turning that over to Jason or to Jason? Are you doing school board recognition week?
What would you like us to do, Billy?
We've kind of
Well, we will.
killed us with kindness on this.
Well, and it's an inside joke because if you notice all the awesome things that our kids and our staff put together for our board, somebody, press my button, sorry. Somebody has to put all that together and organize it all that, and that's Miss Kelly Pellin, so you can give her a hand, so. But if we have a chance, when we have a quick recess, you can go up there and read them if you like. I know the board's been up there, and that's, I think, not to speak for you all, but I know that's a highlight for you to see what our kids say about you all and about our school district. And again, we cannot have a strong school district without strong leadership, and it starts with our Board of Education. I'm very, very proud of serving you all, and we're missing 2 of our members tonight, but we just have a fantastic board to serve, and that basically leads our school district. So thank you all. Let's give them one more hand, please.
Thank you. Item 3.06 is our audience comments. I do have 3 cards.
Excuse me, should I read this first?
It would help. I'm sorry,
That's all right. In regard to public participation at board meetings, all regular and special meetings of the board shall be open to the public. Since the board desires to be a good listener and be responsive to the community, persons desiring to address the board may do so during the time so allotted, so the agenda and according to established procedures. During the audience portion of each board meeting, patrons are invited by the president to speak to or for or against any proposal on the tentative agenda or on any other school concern. The individual is asked to identify him or herself and limit comments to 3 minutes and avoid discussing personalities. The president reserves the right to limit the number of presentations and or length of comments. At the discretion of the president, patrons may be recognized at other times during the board meeting. The board is very interested in audience comments. According to board policy, members cannot respond during the actual meeting. The board will listen to and research all audience comments. If necessary, additional follow-up will occur through the district administrators.
Thank you, Marita. So we do have 3 audience comment cards. Mary King.
Good evening. Happy School Board Week.
Thank you.
Month, whatever it is. I'm Mary King, and I am the president of SCESSA, Support Staff Organization for St. Charles. We've recently just finished our negotiations with the board team, and we have ratified it on our side, so we hope that you will as well on your end this evening. Thank you very much, and welcome, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Mary.
She runs Hardin.
Yeah, good to know. Nathan Hodges.
The other day, I was asked by a board member why I found the board to be my enemy. It did not start off this way. When I first came to a meeting back in October, I was very cordial and came wanting to do my part to help free children of masks. No ill intent, just a lone parent wanting to do my part to help my child and all other children and parents make decisions for themselves. However, within minutes of the first meeting I had ever attended, you were out in the crowd demanding folks be arrested for doing nothing but wanting to help children and grandchildren. That is evil at its heart. Ever since then, I have done everything I can to get folks here to attempt to make a difference. At the last meeting, you all again did everything you could to silence free speech, changing rules, threatening arrest, harassing innocent mothers, having the police literally chase them into the corner. You are even so corrupt you would mute your own mics while yelling at the audience so your voices would not be on the YouTube stream. Nonetheless, we finally succeeded. For months now, you have claimed the rule of law does not apply to you, that judges' orders mean nothing. You openly mocked the judges and Attorney General during the December meeting, claiming they have absolutely no power over you. Last week, you finally removed any and all corona rules from the district during a secret hidden meeting you had. What most folks at home don't know is the very next morning you were due at the St. Charles Courthouse and were going to be told to your face by a judge that you were all the criminals I've been calling you for months. At the last minute, in order to have a lawsuit that you were going to lose dropped, you finally caved. You didn't do this because it was the right thing in the board's eyes. You did it because you were forced. The folks at home need to know this.
Thank you, Nathan. Our next audience, Brendan Kern.
Good evening. I'm Brendan Kearns. I'm the president of the St. Charles Education Association, or SCEA. We represent the certified employees for the district. I wanted to start by thanking both the members of our organization and the members of the administrative and district team for their hard work on the negotiation process. It's a hard and kind of long process, but I appreciate everyone's hard work and us coming together for the common goals of making this district the best place we can have for both employees to work and for students to learn. And I also wanted to take time to wish everybody a happy and restive spring break upcoming. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Okay. At this point in our meeting, we usually take a short break. For those of you who have other obligations this evening, you're welcome to stay for our invigorating remainder of the meeting. Otherwise, this is your chance to make an escape. Thank you all for coming.
We're going to get this to work. Guess what? Seriously, guess what? Are we going to grind this? Hey, listen, Danielle's new.
You know, Chris, we should have that all the time.
No, Danielle.
McNamee. Go by last name.
Wow, this looks even more official.
Chris, don't show off.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna get you're getting cocky now.
We may use that podium all the time. That's probably a good idea for people to,
It was,
Yeah.
it was a recommendation or request from one of our presenters, so.
yeah. You know, it's hard to hold everything and then, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
If you introduce her, her new name is the Shades.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're ready for item 3.07. We have a motion to amend or adopt the agenda. Do I have a second? I second. All those in favor? Aye. Just a question, Chris, when we do our votes, if my mic's the only one on, then you don't hear all the ayes, do you? Does it pick up? Okay,
He basically said, don't worry about it.
okay. Oh,
There he goes again, getting cocky.
okay. Too many,
One step at a time.
Yeah.
All we know now is to press the button off and on.
yeah.
That's all we
He had enough trouble teaching us the first step. Thank you, though. Okay. It's just you.
Okay. Thank you, President Towers.
I've been in Bowling Green. It's freezing up there. So I'm still cold. Okay, we're ready for item 4.01. This is the consent agenda. For efficiency, the school board utilizes a consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda are uniform in nature or are among the many decisions that our board has already determined are in the domain of the administration. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item 6.01, this is our bond projects update.
Yes, so you have two projects submitted for your approval this month. The first is a contract to replace the chillers at St. Charles West High School for $984,000. The low bid submitted by Vogel Sheet Metal and Heating. This is a project that can proceed pretty much any time from now until summer. So we went ahead and bid it. We believe this is pretty good pricing for this project. And then the other one is Monroe Elementary School, and you see a Phase 1 price from Wachter Incorporated for $4,792,500. I should point out that of that almost 4.8 million, you have actually previously approved 2 million of that. We last month approved a contract with SMCI for $1.6 million in HVAC work, and a little over $400,000 with Gateway Fire for the sprinklering of that building. Those are actually sub-bids that we did early, but they were required to be incorporated into Wachter's bid. So of that almost $8 million, really $2,759,801 is new money. The other $2 million has already been approved by the board. This project, the Monroe Elementary Phase 1 piece, is over budget. Overall, it looks like that estimate, including a Phase 2 estimate of similar size, would put us about 25% over what we initially thought that this project would cost. We do believe this is one of our priority projects. Dr. Seifert, Mr. Shields, Mr. Schaefer, and I have worked with our architects and engineers to identify priority projects. And so I can tell you, out of that work, we felt like going forward with the Monroe project was a priority for us. We did determine to, at this point, delay moving forward with the Jefferson St. Charles West storm shelter athletic facility until we knew where we stood with some of our other projects that are more instructional in nature. And we do believe that we probably have a handful of other projects, as many as 5 others, where we'll need to trim the scope of what we intended to do to make everything fit within the bond issue. But all that to say that even in spite of the 25% additional cost, we do believe that this is a good plan to move forward with. Wachter is a contractor we've worked with before. You just previously approved them doing the Success Campus project as well. So our 2 big construction projects this summer will both be with the same contractor, and we feel like we feel some confidence in that. However, they'll tell you that this is a very aggressive time frame to get these projects underway.
Any questions about the bond issues?
As Dr. Brazil said, we were in a meeting. I feel very confident that we're going to get it completed, and I think we got a great team, so. And the key, too, is the communication. Charles is doing a great job in bringing Jeremy in as well and communicating with our principals so they have a really understanding if we're going to scale back some of the projects to make sure we stay within our means, so.
Yeah, these are difficult times. Do I have a motion to approve the bond projects as presented?
I move to approve the bond projects as presented.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Item 6.02 is our COVID review.
So, as always, we start with the why, and we're not going to go through all these slides, but turn my button on, sorry. I just think it's important for us to make sure that we're reviewing everything again to make sure everybody is on the same page. So our why is to keep students and staff safe, to keep students and staff in school as normal as possible, and we've done a great job of that. Chris, we're going to go on down. Everything that you see in slides 2 through probably 15 or 14 are archived. I think it's just important to continue to keep that information in there so we know where we've come from and where we're heading. So if we go to slide 15, one more. No, yeah, right here, yep. So that's pretty exciting to show that. So right now, we have 1 student case in the whole district. And we've been pretty steady at that, either at 0, 1, or 2 for a couple weeks now. Julie, do you want to add anything to that about those numbers?
No, I mean, that's probably for 2 or 3 weeks it's been 0, 1, or 2.
We've stopped contact tracing, those type of things, but our nurses have done a great job of continuing to keep track of what our positive cases are, so we guys have a really good idea of what that looks like. And the positivity rate, I wasn't going to put that on there because the CDC's kind of gone away from that as a measuring device, but I wanted to show that to you because a lot of people, that's the context that we've used, and that's probably as low as it's been. So St. Charles County is at 3.98, and St. Charles City is at 3.3. I think we were in the 3s one other time. That's pretty promising and pretty excited. So numbers look good. We will continue to look at what the cases look like. We'll keep track of that as we move forward as well. So next slide, please. So the next 2 slides, and this is what all this information was linked into our last letter that we sent out. But I wanted to make sure that people have access to this and they can see it again. So the CDC has changed their measures a little bit. I'm not going to read that whole thing to you, but that paragraph gives you a good idea of exactly what they're looking at. And so I wanted to make sure we noted that. And then the next slide talks about then the low, medium, and high. So it's really kind of changed from what we've done before. But this gives you an idea. And how we're branding this out to our families, and we did it in our last letter, is I want them to have a really good idea, now that we're mask optional, I want them to have a really good understanding of, on that slide before, you don't have to go back, Chris, but how they're measuring it, and then what is low, medium, high, and what does that mean for families if they really do want to still look at masking for their kids or for themselves. And so all that information has been linked into our last letter, and so there's good information in there for parents to look at to say, okay, this is what these things look like now, and this is so they can make decisions for their own kids. Okay? And then those are the protocols that we, again, we did have a meeting on 3/2, and I explained this into the letter. Obviously, there's a lot of perception out there of how and why and what we were doing, but we had a closed session because there is some litigation that we had to discuss, and then we wanted to go over our protocols as well. And I will say this, just so everybody knows this, I am proud of this board, I'm proud of the central office team, I'm so proud of our nurses and our teaching staff and our leaders, a lot of people in this building, in this room that's helped us. You know, we've been consistent with our protocols, we've been consistent with our measures, we've been consistent with what we've done for kids, and yes, we've had some litigation, but I can tell you this, every decision we've made has been what's best and safe for our kids and our staff. And it's not just our kids, it's also our staff. And the great thing is we're able to do these things, not because of litigation, not because somebody told us to do it. We're doing these things and being able to move because our numbers are telling us that we can do that. And that we're coming out of it, hopefully. And I will also say this, if we get into a situation where hopefully this does not happen, but numbers do rise again, I guarantee you we will be having conversations about what it looks like to make sure we keep our students and staff safe, because we will never, ever waver from that. And we've had lots of strong conversations, lots of people coming at us, and we're always going to do what's best for our students and staff. And sometimes I say staff and students, sometimes I say students and staff, and they're both important to us. So those are the protocols. I'm not going to go over all of them. You can see click here, that's where those guidelines are, because I think it's important that the parents still have an opportunity to see what all that means for them and make those decisions for their family and their kids. And so we're pretty much, I don't want to say fully back to normal, but we're pretty much there. There was another note in there about other protocols that we had in place, like the buildings, like drinking fountains and visitors and different things. And so each grade level, so K through 6 met the other day, and then the high schools, and they're starting to gradually bring some, we were already doing that, but so you're going to see that information won't necessarily come out from my office, but it will come out from the principals, and a lot of it will be consistent through the grade levels. Obviously, Jefferson's by themselves and Hardin's by themselves, but the 2 high schools will be consistent, and the K through 6 will be consistent, and obviously ECC's doing some things as well. But you're getting drink fountains back open. What does it look like? I don't think we're ready to say everybody come back into school every day and just be on top of each other, but in terms of visitors, but we're starting to gradually open up and do some things. And Jefferson students were able to go over to the play or the musical the other day. So you're starting to see a little bit more life come to fruition in our schools, which is exciting to see. So again, I just thought this was important. You know, the closed session was not to try to do something underhanded or we needed to meet because there was some litigation that we were dealing with. But I thought let's get it out and open tonight so people can see it and review. Now moving forward. I don't know if we're going to have a presentation every meeting, but I do know that with our ESSER funds that we have for ESSER 3, that was just signed into law by our governor last month or 2 or 3 weeks ago, we do need to stay up with every six months looking at it. So I think the public needs to be able to have a voice, and obviously we've had very loud voices from our public, which is fine, but they're going to come in, so we will certainly have at times where we have an opportunity for them to come in and speak about it and give you some feedback and then also talk about our protocols. But this is pretty much, for now, probably the last time you'll see these protocols. They're not going to change at this point unless we really have an issue. So again, this is just for review for you guys, and I really wanted to make sure our public and the people here and online were able to see them in a live setting. Questions for me? Or Julie, Ronnie, anything you guys want to add, or CO team?
I would just say that for, for staffing, it has obviously made a tremendous difference with the COVID numbers going down. So we're starting to see that trend, and you obviously feel it when we're filling positions and we don't need as many subs. And, Julie and I have really worked with our respective pieces or sectors of it, with me working with staff and Julie monitoring the numbers, and the numbers on both sides are parallel, meaning little to no cases at this point.
Thanks, Rodney. Julie?
I would just second that, and it just feels different. It feels like it's gonna stay low. It feels like our one student is able to even come back tomorrow. I mean, we've probably since middle of February, one at a time, and I mean, there's many days we don't have a single person out with COVID anymore, and it's fantastic. So there still is the option because of our grant that we got through the government, that we still need to, we're still gonna be offering testing if they need it. Our testing has like decreased dramatically. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 tests a week. Everything is just slowed down like overnight, so.
And again, a lot of these changes that we're able to do, obviously our numbers are great, but they're going down everywhere. And the CDC obviously made changes too. So all kind of came together at the same time. So, and one more time if we need to look at this again, we certainly will.
I have a question regarding masks. I was at a school Wednesday, and a little kid asked the secretary for a mask, a disposable mask, and she said, "We're running out of them." Is there any plan to equip some kids still wear masks? And as cheap as they are, I think every school that gives out masks should have a supply.
Oh, I agree. And I'm kind of looking at you like, we'll do it off.
Okay,
But I
okay.
want to know, no, this is a great question. I want to know, not that the school's in trouble, but like, I want to know what the school is, because we've got thousands of masks.
Okay,
Probably the context was.
Probably hundreds of thousands.
Maybe we're running low that day and they need to get, like, we've got masks. In fact, this is a great point, because I wanted to say, because you brought it up, obviously, the fitting masks. And I want you to know, we followed up with that.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and Julie made sure, we had, Julie, didn't we have,
We have a ton of the disposable ones. I mean, we had gotten hundreds of thousands
so
of them.
that shouldn't be an issue.
But
We'll make-
the
and-
N95s and the KN95s, we already had a bunch of those in the district as well, that they sent out to each of the buildings. So each of the buildings has a supply of those. Those went directly to the principal's offices, so that if staff needed to ask for those. they
So
could.
we can just get that, I'll get that name, that school, so we just make sure they know they can get, we've got plenty. So that's a good point.
Any other thoughts on this presentation? This is just for information, so we have nothing to vote on, because we've handled this one. And I think, like all of us, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But I do agree, and as Jason said, just because we feel we're at the light at the end of the tunnel, you're still watching it, monitoring it, and being on top of it behind the curtain at the school level, even though. So we hope you don't have to bring it back to us, but you're ready if you do. Item 7.01, this item is about Juneteenth, a discussion on having this as an official paid holiday.
Yeah. So, one, I think this is an opportunity for us to celebrate American history, and not just African American history. But I don't think a lot of people really know the origins of Juneteenth. So a lot of times we associate it with the Emancipation Proclamation that Abraham Lincoln signed in January 1st, 1863. But because Texas had such a stronghold on slavery, slavery was actually going on 2 years beyond that. And so actually Juneteenth is when the Union declared that slavery was over in Texas on June 19th, 1865. And so I certainly wouldn't want to just make a recommendation to celebrate Juneteenth without having that well-rounded view of it in terms of where it's coming from. But obviously, President Biden signed it into law with the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act on June 17, 2001. This, much like the 4th of July, would impact 12-month employees, so it would give them a day off in June. We would treat it the same way we do with 4th of July, so find the closest date to June 19th in the summer, and then that's when that would be the day that 12-month employees would have off. There are several school districts that celebrate this at this point: Clayton, University City, Jennings, Parkway, Warrenton, Riverview, and St. Louis Public.
Okay,
Yeah.
Marita?
Yeah. I have to give you my perspective, and it's regardless of the theme of the day.
Sure.
Okay. And it's a little bit circumspect because, first of all, we have 12 holidays, federal holidays. Federal holidays are not, they're basically mandated for federal employees and the District of Columbia. And the reason why I say that is because many schools, including us, we pick and choose which holidays our kids are off. For example, Veterans Day. And frankly, I like that we're in class on Veterans Day because at least among the small kids, they spend more time talking about Veterans Day, whereas everybody else just thinks it's another holiday. So, you know, so we're inconsistent in which holidays we take off. And as I say, we are not obliged to follow federal holiday, you know, because each state then decides if they want to make that a state holiday. And then usually that particular state then will determine, okay, this is a holiday. And I can't find anywhere, because I've looked, including the employee law book and so on like that, I can't find anywhere where Juneteenth is yet a state holiday. You know, there are basically, I mean, I have them here, I looked it up, 12 holidays, you know, and I looked 2 different places, and I wish there were some place that could be more definitive for the state of Missouri, but I certainly can't find it. And it's not, as I say, it has nothing to do with the theme, but what it has to do is, first of all, being a devil's advocate, and that is that we are inconsistent with the federal holidays. And the second thing is that we're the guardian of finances for this district. And, you know, and even like last year on Juneteenth, federally, it ended up on a Saturday. And the federal government chose not to take that Friday off. And you're talking about, you know, doing that if that happens. You know, so it's very inconsistent, and I would like to wait to see if the state of Missouri makes Juneteenth a holiday. That's my opinion.
Sure. Sure. Obviously, with the districts that I named off, obviously every district is not celebrating it, right? So it'll certainly be our school district's choice.
And I realize there's a minimum amount of people that are employed, you know, during that period, but in that 3-month period, there then will be 3 holidays. I mean, that's a lot of holiday to pay, you know, free, you know, getting work off. And if, as I said, if I felt that it would be a holiday that the teachers really spent time talking about. And in fact, I'd like for the teachers to talk about all 12 of our holidays, so kids know why they're off. You know, or for that matter, teach our adults that too. You know, but, you know, so I just want this to consider that maybe we need to wait on this decision, is what I'm saying.
I like your point about the fact that we don't have Veterans Day as a holiday. And I feel like you do, that children gain more from it because, especially at elementary levels, they have programs and they see the meaning of it. And sadly, the Juneteenth is in the summer when students aren't in session. Because it has a lot of, it should have an opportunity to have more historical impact, and it doesn't in our schools. So that was a good point. The other point that I thought that if we had federal holidays, it also meant that schools would also be obliged to take those holidays, but we set our own calendar. Is it correct? Except for, I don't know, I mean, we have to take off.
The 4th of July is there, you know. Is that, what are you referring to?
Well, I was kind of correcting my head
Oh.
as I was talking when I said, if it's a federal holiday, schools have to adjust for that in our calendars.
No,
But we don't.
no, that's what I'm
We don't
saying.
take them all.
Yeah, we don't have to take them.
We're obligated to start school after, you know, and that's a state law,
That's correct.
yeah.
In Missouri, you're right, there isn't a law that makes Juneteenth a state holiday, but the Office of Administration has announced that the state will observe Juneteenth on Monday, June 20th, as a day when offices will be closed and state workers won't work.
Well, when I checked for the 2022 schedule for state for the state of Missouri calendar, they did not have Juneteenth on there.
Maybe it's been updated, but this Office of Administration state holidays for 2022.
Is it on there?
Pardon? Yeah, I do. I'd like to see the site, because I couldn't find the site.
The state also, of course, as Julie said, observes Truman's birthday, which we don't either.
Well, when you bring that up next time.
So essentially, we determine what federal holidays the schools are taking off. Our school district.
When we set our calendar.
Yes, we do.
We determine.
I mean, obviously, you've approved the previous ones, but yes.
So if we decided we were going to have school on Memorial Day, like,
Yeah, it's possible.
So, okay,
let's
so.
do it.
It was pointed out, according to the Commissioner of Missouri, so it was pointed out. However, I still think that it's a kind of it's a fruitless holiday. I say that the wrong way. I know it has nothing to do with the theme. All right?
Can I just say this? I feel compelled to say this, and I wouldn't, but I do feel compelled. Whatever the board decides, it's totally up to you. However, it's a holiday regarding the freedom from slavery, but I'm going to say this, and I don't want anybody to take it any differently, but it's not my holiday. So this, obviously, we talked about this as a CO team. And so the thoughts and opinions that you express regarding Juneteenth does not offend me personally. I have to say this. It doesn't offend me personally. That'll be your call. Nor does it represent what you think about a certain race of people if you choose to. I'm just saying this because I feel compelled to say it. Right? I'm not pointing it toward you. I mean, obviously you're being vocal about it, which is fine. But so I'm putting all of that out there because we all know that race is a very taboo subject. This Juneteenth is founded and rooted around race, so we know that. So I'm not going to act like that doesn't exist. But as long as we can put the cards on the table and set the record straight, we can really have an authentic conversation about what we're saying, about what we're doing, and understanding we're just taking the holiday for what it is. And people who are watching online or maybe in this room don't misconstrue what you're saying. Because in order to...
It has nothing to do, to me, it has to do with whether we're being financially responsible.
That's fair.
And we're inconsistent with holidays anyway. If I'm correct, Dr. Brazil and Dr. Tormala, is not Lincoln Day a holiday for the state of Missouri?
That's a good question.
It is observed on Friday, February 11th.
There you go,
there is a Lincoln Day?
yes,
I mean, we used to celebrate.
but not anymore.
And
Well,
Truman.
we never took off on Lincoln Day, we took off on Washington's Day.
There are 14 state holidays. New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, Lincoln's birthday, Washington's birthday, Truman Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day.
And I would like to add, and
Well,
this
I guess-
has,
I guess
Oh.
New Year's Day was at the beginning and the end, so there's 13.
Thank you.
It was on there twice.
sorry.
Sorry.
And this is not really to a rebuttal to anything you're saying, Dr. Malone, but to piggyback on Rodney, and we talked about 12-month employees having it off, and that. We decided to bring this to you, not because we want an extra day off. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Oh, well,
It
there's
is-
no question about that. Dr.
It
Susan.
is
Yeah.
about making sure that, I believe it is about the theme. Me personally, and I believe it is about setting a tone for what we deem as history and that we just want to honor. And I just want to make sure that, that's not good or bad, it's just I wanted you to know where our heart was. And we wanted to bring it to you and have a good conversation. I don't think it's right or wrong if we vote yes or no, it's fine, but I just want to make sure people are clearly understand, because like you said, Dr. Lewis, I think things can get misconstrued
Absolutely,
very
very
quickly.
quickly.
And I don't want it to be.
Absolutely.
Well, just adding in to what I said earlier, that I agree with Marita about the Veterans Day, that it is an opportunity. And sadly, I wish Juneteenth was not in June. I wish that we could have that as an opportunity for more conversations and history with our students. But at the same time, in this discussion, what you've just said, Jason, this Juneteenth will only affect 12-month employees, but it will show, I think, that the district does see value in this Juneteenth and the history behind it, so.
Well, okay, and I'm just, now just arguing just to show the other side. But if we wanted to make it a learning experience, or if we wanted to show its importance and its value, then it should be taken, our teachers should be talking about Juneteenth when they're talking about Martin Luther King Day, or any of the other days that we're celebrating. Columbus Day, we don't celebrate Columbus Day, you know? And so, you know, I'm just trying to, as I say, I just want to be the devil's advocate and a person that is interested in our finances.
So, lots of good conversation. Are there any other thoughts?
I guess the question I have is how many 12-month employees would be affected? Like, how many 12-month employees do we have?
See, approximately 250.
Do I have a motion to approve the Juneteenth as an official paid holiday?
I move we approve Juneteenth as an official paid holiday.
I second.
Do we want a roll call vote, or do you want to just vote? Just vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
It passes. Thank you. And thank you all for I thought it was a good conversation. Item 7.02, thank you for patiently waiting. Our meet and confer agreement about the certified staff. Is there any discussion? And we have some fearless leaders coming up.
I'm gonna clap for you.
Yeah, they've been working hard.
Can I open up and just say, these three for sure, but then their whole team, I just can't tell you enough how their leadership's been outstanding. This whole process has been, and it's real, right, guys? I tell these guys, it's real. Like, we have real conversations, we have real issues, we get after it. But it's positive, it is, but it's positive, it's productive, and I just want to make sure I say kudos to you guys again. Great job.
And some good recipes, too.
Can I make a motion?
And just,
I didn't, if they wanted to say something before we had the
yeah,
motion.
I just kind of stole your thunder, sorry. If you want to say something, please, you did.
Okay.
But,
Push the little button. You have to have that red light on.
As chair of the teacher side of it, you know, it was a 3-month process, really. Jason and I started to talk and get everything worked out. It had been 3 years since we negotiated, and we all know what's happened over the last 3 years. So we definitely had a lot to figure out and had some great conversations and did a lot of great things for the students and staff of the district, so thank you.
Tammy, you anything? Because you're a big part of it too. And you don't have to speak, but just,
Well, I guess I can.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Unaccustomed as I
No,
am.
just as a veteran member of a negotiating team, I've been doing this for, I don't remember how long. It was good to sit back down at the table and have those conversations. And you're right, some of the conversations were hard on both sides, but because of the process, we got to a really good place. And I'm really happy with what we did and how we communicated. And yeah, it's a great process to do. So if board members, please make sure, you can serve on a negotiating team because it's a great experience. And thank you guys so much.
And by the time we get to the negotiation meetings, all of the work that you guys have done, I was saying this to Jason earlier, that there's so much work that's accomplished before we actually sit down with the meet and confer with Dr. Brazil and Rodney and, well, the whole COT team, that it looks like it runs very smoothly, but you guys, all of you do a lot of work to get it done. And as Jason, as you pointed out, having not done this, you had a lapse for 3 years, it's amazing how well it went.
well, and I certainly won't make you stand up there any longer, but I wanted to say this point too. This process works so well with all 3 of our groups because there's trust. There's trust with our people. And again, we have real conversations. People who see me as a real person, and I have my highs and lows when we have these meetings, and we're all over the place. We're real people, we humanize it, but there's trust in our district, and that's what makes us so great. And they did a great job. And just so you know, if there's not a lot of questions, they've had a chance to see it. We've had conversations, just so everybody here is very well vested in the process too, and has seen the great work that you guys have come up with too with us, so.
So with that, do we have any more discussion on this? Do I have a motion then?
I move to approve the certified meet and confer agreement as presented.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, certified agreement is passed. Thank you. We're ready for item 7.03, which is our meet and confer with our classified staff.
Next.
Yeah, you get to stand up again.
Yes.
Come on up. You've been
Because
working hard.
I'll say the same thing with this group, and for me, the difference between the two groups is when you get with your classified, you're talking about so many different groups of people.
Yeah.
And I think, no offense to the people in the back, I feel like it's even harder. Because it's just so many, they're shaking their heads, it's like, yeah. And they're probably thinking, yeah, Seabird, you were even, they're like, yeah, Seabird, you were even tougher on us. But it is, and there's so. It's amazing, and these ladies and then the group did a great job. And again, same thing, lots of hard conversations, a lot of things that we had to work out, and we really got to a really good agreement. So anything else you guys want to add, either all 3 of you, or no? We just really thank you for your leadership too. So.
And again, appreciation of how much work goes on before we actually sit down with the meet and confer. So, and we have talked about it already. Is there any other discussion for this? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the classified meet and confer agreement as presented.
All those in, I'm sorry, Mike seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Item 8.01 is our program review for parents and teachers, and we have a podium for you. Just remember to push the button.
We do. Okay, so we're going to invite up Miss Sarah Sherwood. She is our new early childhood coordinator, and she oversees our Parents as Teachers program as part of her duties. I also would like to call attention to Dr. Carrie Holt, who is our early childhood principal. Carrie is retiring at the end of this year. And so we have Dr. Ann Westbrook, who will be our new early childhood principal next year. And then we have our Parents as Teachers educators here as well. So we are excited to be able to share this with you. So Chris, can you click on the link, which is the presentation, the slideshow presentation, right there? Thank you. And so we're going to turn it over to Sarah so she can take us through this, and I'm sure she's not nervous at all.
Not at all for my first board presentation.
You can do it, let's go.
Thank you.
That's her new nickname.
It's my new nickname.
That's her new nickname.
I accept it, I accept it. Well, good evening to our board members and our school district leaders. My name is Sarah Sherwood, and I am the new early childhood coordinator, and I've been told to keep this sweet and short by no one named here tonight. And so let us get started with our Parents as Teachers program. So I would like to start with the celebrations of our PAT program. You will notice that there is a familiar fella on there. Dr. Seifert came to our fire station group connection, and one of our most favorite, who doesn't love going to the fire station? I know the parents had just as much fun as the kids. So, and then up above, I have a mom with her little one at our popsicles on the playground, and that is our kickoff to our year. Looking at our 2020-2021 school year, I just wanted to share some of the highlights of our program. We served 114 families, 145 children, 691 visits, and of those visits, over 500 were virtual. And having done those myself, they take a tremendous amount of planning. We deliver them to families, and they were really well received. So even during a hard time, we were able to still serve our families. We did 9 group connections, 339 developmental screenings, and of those, 50 children were identified with potential delays, and 36 were referred further for service. Looking at 2021, our current school year, these numbers will change because we're still in our program year. But so far, we have served 141 families, 168 children. We've provided 524 personal visits, 248 screenings, and what's interesting is we've already identified 75 potential delays, and we've referred 29 children for services. So looking back at our last slide, one of the outcomes for parents as teachers is programming to increase early identification and referral for services. And we also screen for hearing and vision for all of our PAT families, as well as our preschoolers. So for our program growth opportunities, we would like to partner with our St. Charles School District elementary schools to recruit more families for PAT. This is actually our map data scores with the wonderful Tina, who helped me make these wonderful graphs. And this is our current 4th grade students and their 3rd grade map scores. And as you will notice that students who participated in our PAT program had fewer below basic scores compared to their peers who did not participate in PAT, and scored much higher in advanced placement compared to their peers who did not participate in PAT. And this data aligns directly with the recent study conducted by DESE and their examination of the effectiveness of Missouri's Parents as Teachers program. And it found that children who received 3 or more annual visits had much higher rates compared to their peers who did not. So that's great data for us, showing that the effectiveness of our program. And then taking this a step further, we were able to look with that data at the individual elementary schools and the children who did participate in the program. As you can see, Blackhurst and Harris had a good amount of participation. Coverdell, Lincoln, Monroe, and Knoll would be an area of growth and partnership. And what we would do, our action steps for that, was that we would meet with our elementary principals and secretaries to provide needed communication and inform them about our enrollment to share with families. We would like to attend staff meetings to share about our Parents as Teachers program and encourage teachers who see families who would value from our home visiting program to get them set up. And we will also partner our parent educators with different elementary schools so that they can provide a person to reach out to, ask any questions, teachers and families aside. We understand that one of the benefits, it's okay, I'm trying not to talk too fast. We understand that one of the benefits of our PAT programming is school readiness skills and achievement on MAP. And this partnership with the elementary schools would be both beneficial for our families and students as well as our school district. This is our Parents as Teachers National Center Performance Measure Report for Service Delivery of Essential Requirements. And To be a model affiliate, you have to have 60% or higher on these essential requirements. And to be a blue ribbon affiliate, which is an endorsement that we receive, we deliver the highest level of fidelity and of programming to our families. And we have to have 75% or higher in this area, in all of these essential requirements. So our parent educators are working tremendously hard. I'm very proud of them. These are very hard things to accomplish. And so as you can see, we're doing really well. And so knowing that, we have a recommendation for program improvement. We would like to explore the financial feasibility of hiring an additional parent educator to address the current needs of our program. Previously, we had 2 full-time parent educators that were replaced by a part-time educator. And due to COVID, we postponed the hiring of a full-time parent educator, and we're ready to move forward. Currently in our program, we have a wait list of 16 families. And with the hire of a new parent educator, that will alleviate our wait list, as well as be able to recruit more families and actually be able to serve them right away. And then finally, when I took this position, I love it. It is just absolutely the most wonderful job. I was told how wonderful the St. Charles community is, and now that I'm here and working and living and breathing it, it really is a wonderful and supportive community. And so our community resources and group connections are something that are very important to our program. The group connections are monthly group activities that we have PAT families come, and we build community partnerships with our schools and our families. This includes intervention services, social services, family well-being activities, and area events. And in our program year, 75% of our group connections involved an area resource. And we have a couple that are coming up, and I encourage you to join us at any of them. They're really fun. Our St. Charles Ambulance District is doing a CPR and choking relief course, so if you have children or grandchildren at home, this is a great one to come to. They're also doing a car seat check. The Poison Control and Parks and Rec have some very fun ones, so I encourage you to come if you have any interest. And then I would like to thank you for this time. Oh, it wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought, just a little bit. But I would like to say a very special thank you to my parent educators who are here, Annie, Sherry, Tracy, and Cindy. They're wonderful. They work so hard. And Dr. Holt for helping me with my very first board presentation. So thank you.
Yay. You did a great job, Sarah.
Excellent.
You're setting the bar pretty high for the next one's coming up.
Thank you. Do
That was
you
an
have any?
excellent presentation.
Yeah,
Thank
it was excellent. May I make a comment? Yeah, I like the presentation. I really love the scores, okay? And just, even though I'm a short timer, there's definitely a need, you know, she talks about needing another full-time person because where it begins is at the beginning. And I think this would be a very beneficial thing to get another teacher in there.
And as she mentioned too, at the retirement, we would have refilled it, but we were in the middle of COVID and our numbers and our families had declined, just like with preschool. And so we pressed pause. And now we're at the point that we're going to recommend bringing that position back on.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
You
Thank
must
you
have done
very
really
much.
well because I've asked for a lot of stuff and she's never said yes like that before. So. Wow, that's impressive. I'm just saying.
And we all know, I can follow up with the statistic that for every $1 you invest in early
you go.
childhood programming, it saves you between $12 and $16 later on with remedial services, special education, and social services. So you invest early and you reap the rewards later.
You better believe it.
That's exactly.
And I know I say a lot of things about how wonderful and the best and all that, and I know I'm Captain Obvious, but that group back there, you look at our parents and teachers, and you look at the leaders, and I know they're looking back at the teachers, but that group is, I mean, that's second to none back there. I mean, we have, obviously, Dr. Tolman has just built this unbelievable place and this great program, but it takes you have to have the right people. And when you walk into our facility, we have the best people working in that facility, and I just want to make sure we say that, so congrats to all of you.
Thank you, everybody.
We are so pleased with that program and along with all of us, It was a great presentation, made perfect, hit all the good points. And do any of you have any questions or comments? Okay. Well then, do I have a motion to approve the Parents as Teachers program as presented?
I move to approve the Parents as Teachers program review as presented.
Do I have a second? Second. Your button.
I second.
I
We didn't hear you the
promoted
first
it.
time, thank you.
Just giving you a chance to hit that button. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. Item 8.02 is our migrant program review.
So I would like to invite up Nidra Woolfolk to the podium. She's going to assist in this presentation. So Nidra is our new federal programs coordinator. And so she's been instrumental in helping to develop this report as well. So I will present, and then Nidra is going to help us answer any questions and go from there. So with this program review, it's our ELL program review, English language learners, our limited English proficiency students. It is also part of the migrant program report for the state. Currently, we do not have migrant funding coming to us because we do not have enough students to qualify this year. In previous years, we have qualified for migrant. So, Chris, if you want to advance the slide. So basically, the program for our ELL learners is really to help our newcomers that come to the United States, help them develop the English proficiency that they need in order to find success in our high academic classes and be able to live their lives in the United States, being able to fully access the English language. So we do have 3 programs goals. The first is to provide an effective means of addressing the educational and social needs of our ELL students, to increase academic achievement scores, and then to provide support services for those students. You can go into the next slide. Yay. So since the last time that I've given this report, we have made some adjustments to our programming to provide additional staff support. And so the first person that I'd like to actually call out by name is Susie Mills. So 2 years ago, we brought Susie Mills on as our district parent liaison and interpreter. So she works directly with our ELL families. She is bilingual. She is able to communicate, connect our families with resources, translate during IEP meetings or other special meetings for families. She helps connect them with community resources. She has been such an amazing resource and has connected our families who sometimes feel a little isolated with the language barrier. And so she's done a phenomenal job. We also have Allison Parrott, who has been a longtime ELL teacher in our district. She works at St. Charles West and does a phenomenal job. As part of her duties, she helps coordinate the ELL teachers and serves as their department chair. She helps coordinate professional development, any changes coming down from the state. So she really does a nice job of helping lead that initiative as well. So when we look at our demographics for last school year, we had 17 different languages spoken in the St. Charles School District, 346 ELL students. And then you can see as well, there's a breakdown by building there. And then out of the languages that we have spoken in our district, about 47% of those ELL students speak Spanish. That is our dominant second language. And this is just a nice map to see where our 17 languages come from. We have a very diverse population. And as you look at the list of languages there, some are very common and some are very remote tribal languages as well. So one of the assessments that we give to all of our students that are identified as having English as a second language is the Weda Screener. And so this is really designed to let us know a student's proficiency with the English language, and it's designed to allow us to determine whether or not they need ELL services and then also it helps us on the back end of making sure that they're achieving proficiency. And so when we looked at our scores from 2019 to 2021, we did see quite a few areas where we saw growth as well. And so again, during that time frame, it was the pandemic. We had a lot of the emergency closures. A lot of our ELL families did have their students access through virtual last school year, and through that, services for language can sometimes be a little more difficult. And so we were very pleased to see that we saw growth in so many areas. And this is the MAP achievement results as well for our students who were ELL. And you can see here the blue is the district, and the color that's kind of showing up as like a pinkish white is the state. And you can see in all 4 content areas, our students are outperforming. And so this is consistent with the information I shared a couple of months ago when we talked about our achievement. Another program that we put in place a couple of years ago is the Seal of Biliteracy program. And so students work through various different programs to show their proficiency in another language outside of English. And students who earn the Seal of Biliteracy are eligible for 12 units of college credit at Missouri State Universities, which is a very significant accomplishment. And since we instituted the program, we've had 59 of our students be able to earn that Seal of Biliteracy, and they've learned it from Arabic, French, German, Hindi, Mandarin, Russian, Spanish, and so our list continues to grow. I do know that we have students testing this year that are actually testing in tribal languages as well. For professional development, we have focused on meeting not only the instructional and language needs of our ELL students, but also youth mental health, looking at providing resources and support for our new teachers coming in. Even if they're not an ELL teacher, the likelihood that they're going to have ELL students in their classes is pretty high for us. And so we want to make sure that they all have the tools necessary and they know what resources are at their disposal. And we have multiple activities throughout the year for families, from ELL education nights. Several of our schools celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. All of our title schools have school-wide family night events for title, as well as our schools just generally have family events as well. Before and after school opportunities, and many other resources where we're providing translation services, interpreters, making sure that our families feel comfortable and welcome, and that they're able to access all of the important information that we have in their native language. And so a couple of other things that I'd like to highlight before we turn it over to questions is that we really have focused the last couple of years, especially in making sure that we are being more proactive in providing translation services. Our technology department and they've made sure that our format on our website is such that there is a translation capability there for anything that's on our website. We this year have had various meetings as a central office communications team to really talk about how we share information out to families. And you may, for those of you who receive our notices, you may have recently seen that in recent months we started sending them out via SMORE newsletter or through a link where that takes them directly to our website. And that's very intentional because both of those formats have very robust translation capabilities. So families can have whatever major message is being sent from the district within a moment's notice. They are able to translate that on their cell phone or on their computer and have it translated so that they can understand everything that's going out. I'm sorry? So it just depends on the languages, but Google translates nearly into, I can't say all remote tribal languages, but the vast majority of other languages can be translated.
Thank you.
We also work with different translation services as well. So if we are unable to get a live interpreter, or if somebody walks into a school building and they speak a language that we don't have access to someone, we have actually dial-up services as well, where we call and they will connect us with a live interpreter, and we pay by the minute, is basically. So we are able to, if somebody walks right in, within a few moments, be able to get somebody on the phone that can help communicate for us. And so because of that, because of the multitude of languages, our translation services fees that we pay have continued to go up. And I know Nidra was looking at our budgets, because every year that's an area, like I typically try really hard to keep our budget the same or to not increase. And I know Charles appreciates that. But the one area where I'm constantly saying, and we need to increase, is our translation budget. And so pretty much every year over the last several years, we've increased that budget by about a third every year, more than the year before. And that's simply because we are really trying to be very proactive of sharing information in native languages, so all families feel included and can clearly understand what we're doing in the district and be able to best meet the needs of their child. So with that, Nidra, you're awesome. Do you want to add anything else? Thank you. Thank you, Chris. And Chris has been very instrumental in helping to adjust our communications as well, to make sure that we're being more inclusive with our translation capabilities for our families.
I think you've covered everything. I think with some of our recommendations, we're thinking about coming up with a committee that we've kind of started talking so that we could be intentional to reach our families that need help with translations and things like that, of that nature. That committee we have like several of our teachers, ELL teachers, Dr. Seifert, Dr. Tormla, myself, a couple of other key players that's trying to come together to see how we can further this program. And so that's exciting for me too as well. I'm still learning, but it's one of the areas where I'm really, really excited to be working with this group.
And that prompted me too. One of the other areas that we're going to look at trying to partner will be with St. Charles Community College. They often will provide language classes for individuals who are trying to learn the English language. Sometimes transportation is a difficult thing for our families to get from our location to St. Charles Community College. So we're going to try to work with them to see if we can host some of those sessions here, where it'll be a little bit easier for our families to be a little more accessible for that as well. We're going to continue our professional development and training of our teachers. Really, I think everything else we've kind of covered. So can we answer any questions for you?
Yeah, did you kind of mention that? I was going to ask, I hear we have so many services and available, and the technology for those two sites on our website. How are we making sure that the families know about all of these? The breakdown.
That's a good question. So our ELL teachers are communicating with our families. When families register with us, we are asking about their native languages and things like that. And so we're putting that into the student information system, where our ELL teachers can actually pull their groups and send out those instant messages to them as well. So our ELL teachers have been instrumental. Susie Mills is a rock star.
Well,
And
I'm
she
pretty old
is
school.
she is communicating with all of our families, but especially our Spanish-speaking families. Literally, they're texting her and calling her nightly, over the weekends, during breaks, and she shows up for them, and she makes sure that they get what they need.
So this is old school me. But when a family comes into our school, registering and we're telling them all about these sites and where they can go, do we have a handout for them, a
Yeah.
booklet?
So
they have it right there?
Susie Mills, she registers most of those families. So she sets up appointments, and then so if they're Spanish-speaking families, she's translating through that whole process with them. And then if they're families that speak other languages, she's there with the interpreting services, and she's helping to get them. She's created folders of resources, all of the community organizations, where to go, she helps people get to the health department to get immunizations so that they can be up to date, so they can enroll. Like she does all of those things, and she's worked really hard to make those resources available.
I will say, I was part of the CSIP committee a few years ago, and it was on the Parent and Community Involvement Subcommittee, which this was a big area we talked about. And as a parent in the district, I've seen tremendous improvements in our translating and just the availability that I think before it was assumed like information was sent out but nothing was ever translated, or, we assumed a lot. So yeah, it's awesome to see how much this has grown.
It sounds very intentional now, very.
Well,
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know what we would do without Susie Mills.
No, we need
And
to
what we
clone
did
her.
before without her, I don't know. I mean, and Danielle had the vision to put her in that position and do that. And then this person right there in the position she is, I mean, we have the right people and the right jobs. And then you want to talk about we kind of gloss over the ELL teachers.
They're amazing.
They're unbelievable. And that's a group that you don't mess around with. And no, I'm serious.
That's a legit statement.
They said, we want to meet, we're not pointing fingers, but we have some stuff we want to talk about, and we want to make sure, and then I was like, Danielle, I don't want to meet. Danielle's like, you're meeting. So I've met 2 or 3 times with them. Chris was a part of it, and things that you're seeing now from the translation piece of it, and how we're communicating, is directly because of Susie Mills, Nidra, Danielle, and our ELL teachers. So it's, talk about intentional. It was all positive, but they said, here's your need, here's how you're communicating, this is what we need to do. And we fixed some things specifically the last 2 or 3 months.
Well, and I think it's so much more than translating. They advocate for
Yeah,
those
oh,
students,
They
which is
do.
huge. It's not just about translating, but they are true advocates, which these families need and deserve.
And they've done a lot of work too of, there are some apps that you can have on your phone called Talking Points, where you can correspond and it will translate into whatever language they need as well. And so some of our nurses are using this when they have to communicate home quickly. Our teachers are using it. It's been a great addition to the other types of translation as well, for that quick, informal conversation where you don't need to hire somebody to do a minute-by-minute translation. You just need to send a quick text.
Yeah.
And that's really opened up a lot of the communication lines as well.
I have 2 questions. On the seal of biliteracy, I don't think that's spelled right. Literacy, okay. It says English GPA 3.0. That's what you have to have in all your English classes?
So those, those
Okay.
are the criteria to
Okay.
earn the credit on the
All right.
backside.
What is the Access 4.0 mean?
So the Access is our English language proficiency test that our ELL students take every spring.
Okay.
And so that marks their proficiency over time. When they get to, it's on a range of a 1 to 6 point scale. If they hit a 6-point scale, they're automatically exited from the ELL program. They no longer need services. They have a sustained high level of proficiency of the English language. If they hit a 5.0, and we have other district-wide criteria that supports the fact that we believe that they're ready to be exited from the program, then they will go to a monitoring status where we check in on them and make sure that they're doing okay. And so 4.0 is a strong level of proficiency. So all of those things combined, and then showing the evidence on the assessment, get them the seal of biliteracy.
Okay, and what do they have to do to prove they're fluent in the second language?
So
Or their first language? But
we have something called the Apple Test, AAPPLE assessment. Don't ask me what it stands for, but it's something with, language. And so,
That's one of the most profound things you've ever
That
said.
was, it was like the most profound
That was
statement
awesome.
of the year, I'm pretty sure.
She usually has all the acronyms. That was great.
Yeah, no, it's late.
Language.
And so with that, that is like a formal standardized assessment for all of the major tests. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a student who's testing in a tribal language, so they have to create a portfolio, and there are some pieces that they will translate that we've had to order and things like that. It's a more authentic process that then we go through the organizations to show proficiency. But typically, it's a standardized assessment.
Any other questions for this presentation? Then do I have a motion to approve the migrant program?
I make a motion to approve the migrant program review.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The migrant program review passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nidra. We're ready for item 9.01 as our district financial report.
So I'd like to just begin by echoing the words that Dr. Tormela shared about Nidra. She has jumped into that federal programs position, and she's assigned to work for Dr. Tormela, but she does a lot of financial work. And so she works very closely with Lavinia and the business office and our buildings to make sure that whether it's the migrant programs that we just talked about, or Title I, or all of the ESSER funds that we're now managing, she does all of that work and does a great job with it. So I really appreciate her as well. Plus, she liked the shirt that my wife picked out for me today, so that's good too.
Good job.
So related to the monthly financial report, there are not any really outstanding or unusual items to point out to you. I would just point out that in February, we did already point the nose down in cash flow. As you're aware, at the end of January, we're really at our high tide for the year. So we've already begun spending a little more than we're taking in, but that's because our local revenue is so important to us. State revenue actually bumped up a little bit in February. Again, we had almost no state revenue in January because we do pay part of our general obligation bond repayment through a what's called an intercept. And so they take our foundation formula money to pay our bond payments. And so we actually didn't get very much state revenue last month. We're back up to a more normal figure. Federal revenue that Nidra helps us coordinate, just as a reminder to you, is almost all drawdown. So we have to spend it and then request the funding back. And so Danielle and I work with Nidra to determine when we request those funds to be drawn from DESE down to us. We did, as Dr. Seifert mentioned at the beginning, just have ESSER 3 funds allocated by the state legislature and signed into law by Governor Parsons. So those funds are available to us now over the next several years. But if you recall, we had said there was a bit of a concern that the legislature was on a timeline that they had to meet in order for us to get those funds. So they did manage to do that. So on to the next sheet, if you would, Chris. This is year-end total. You see all the bond funds there kind of skew the figures so that we're showing almost $99 million overall, but the bond funds held in Fund 4 are the largest portion of that revenue. So that figure will steadily decrease over the next several years as we spend those monies down. And then finally, on the budget adjustment report, we made a few adjustments, which technically does reduce our projected fund balances just a little bit more. I still think we'll see that pop up to 21, 22% by the end of the fiscal year. Any questions?
No, other than to point out again how important, as you said, our local revenue of
taxes are to a school district.
Charles, my gift to you is to not ask any questions.
My gift is to not pontificate any further, so.
We're even.
Okay, well, we're done gifting.
But do I get a gift?
Not yet.
Okay, if we have no other questions, then is there a motion to approve the district financial report?
I move we approve the district financial report.
Is there a second? I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Financial report passes. Thank you, and is approved. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for coming, everybody.